Many thanks to Job, Jaren, DayZ Podcast, Taggy's Tag West, Black Knight and Lion Lost for making this video possible. DayZ patch 1.17 has changed the game considerably and in more ways than we are told by the patch notes. So in this video we're going to go over the ridiculous amount of changes and hidden changes we've seen in this patch to prepare you for the 35 important changes that you need to know for DayZ 1.17. To encapsulate all 35 changes in DayZ this patch, we're going to be splitting all of these into 4 different categories, starting with the new items added in 1.17. The new Yellow King motorbike helmet is a melee weapon and a piece of clothing that has the same stats as a regular motorbike helmet when worn, but it does tint your vision slightly darker than a regular motorbike helmet. This helmet only spawns at the new Livonia Castle, where I found 2 of these on the same server, located south of Silnik along the Red Hiking Trail. It's capable of KOing an unprotected player in just 4 hits, but becomes damaged very quickly, being repaired with epoxy putty. The Pitchfork is a re-added item that cannot be used as a tool of any sort in 1.17, but does allow for accurate attacks with its stabbing animation, and you can 2-shot headshot infected with this weapon, so it is a good weapon to use. This weapon cannot be repaired however. The Cleaver is essentially a knife that has a slightly higher damage per hit but cannot be used to stealth attack, and like most sharp weapons in DayZ, it can be repaired with the sharpening stone. The meat Tenderizer is not great as a melee weapon and is better used as a hammer for base building, however it has half the durability that the hammer has and cannot be repaired either. The kitchen timer is basically the alarm clock that you can twist to set and it will go off on its own. This means you can use it against infected much easier than the alarm clock, and it's smaller in your inventory too. The maximum time you can set is 45 minutes, and accurately setting exactly when you want it to go off will take a lot of practice, but it is not affected by server time acceleration, so 1 minute on the kitchen timer will be exactly 1 minute in real life. The CR550 sniper rifle is essentially a Tundra with a 10-round magazine, so functions very much like the CR527 does, just on steroids. One of the biggest drawbacks with this weapon is its high amount of recoil, which makes tracking splashes very difficult, and also with the Savannah comes a new 4-round mag and a 10-round mag which hold 308 rounds, both only attaching to the Savannah. The Longhorn is a pistol sniper hybrid that works the same as the BK-18 in functionality, but also allows a pistol optic. Now because it uses the 308 rounds it is very powerful, but to separate this weapon from say the Blaze, which has a much longer barrel, the Longhorn's damage drops off much quicker compared, one-shotting players at a fraction of the distance that other 308 weapons can, but nonetheless quite deadly if you make that one-shot count. The P1 is basically the CR75 pistol that doesn't allow any attachments apart from the improvised suppressor, but reloads very quickly. It's better than the IJ70, but not by much due to its poor accuracy and its damage reduction compared to other 9mm weapons. With the P1 comes a new 8-round 9mm mag that only attaches to the P1 pistol. You can now craft improvised pants and a top with 6 rags each placed in your hands, and scrolling through the new menu in the bottom left hand corner, simply select which one you want to craft and it will craft it, but only the top is better than the t-shirt that you spawn with, so your pants are better unless of course you've had your pants stolen. The other 4 pieces can be crafted with 2 rags each and include a head wrap, mask, gloves and foot wraps. All of these new crafted pieces provide bad insulation from the cold and have very low durability, but the gloves will protect you from diseases you get from having bloody hands, and while sliding down ladders plus gathering wood, your hands are protected from getting bleeds. The foot wraps also act like shoes but are much quieter, protecting your feet from bleeds too, and allows you to sprint crouch around infected on most surfaces without being detected. All of these improvised clothing pieces can be repaired with rags or with the white sewing kit, but adding 1 rag restores 1 quality level to a rag piece of clothing, so it may be worth just crafting these smaller items again instead of repairing them 1 quality level at a time. Like rag clothing, place a piece of rope in your hands and you'll get the ability to craft a rope which can be placed in the belt slot in your inventory to carry a knife without needing a knife sheath like other belts require, so this is actually better if you just want to carry a knife. However, the bone knife and the stone knife doesn't attach to the belt, and it looks like there is no way to repair the rope belt now that it retains its quality level during crafting. The improvised filter is crafted with a dust mask and a water bottle and require 10 charcoal tabs to fill up completely, but you can fill it up with less if you don't have 10. This new filter works exactly the same as a green filter but would deplete at around 33% faster, and both of these now degrade in quality level when they're used. So inside a gas zone, the green filter can be used for a total of 1 hour before it becomes ruined, and the improvised filter is 20 minutes, and both of these filters cannot be repaired. The bone knife is exactly the same as the stone knife we already have in the game, but it does weigh less. It also is crafted differently, requiring just 2 bones to craft. These 2 knives have the lowest durability of any knife in the game by a large margin, and in this patch the stone knife can no longer be repaired, so in turn the bone knife can't be repaired either. Combining a bone or stone knife with a long wooden stick or a sharpened wooden stick will craft you the spear now, which cannot be thrown to damage enemies, cannot be repaired, and cannot be used like a sharpened stick to cook food. Both the stone and the bone spear are exactly the same, they just have different models, and like the pitchfork has a very accurate stabbing animation to make very light work of infected in the early game. A cooking stand can be crafted by combining a long wooden stick with 2 regular sticks and works exactly the same as a tripod does, in that you can attach cooking equipment to it over a fireplace, but the cooking stand has less than a third of the durability of the tripod. The cooking stand is also 2 slots longer than the tripod, meaning that you will need a decent sized backpack to carry the cooking stand because the tripod can fit in most pieces of clothing. The first new mechanic is the ability to refill the new improvised filter and existing green filter using charcoal tabs. To refill the filter, you will need to pull the filter off of the mask, but the animation is quick, so you can get away with doing this in a gas zone with just a bleed, but be aware that you cannot refill the combat gas mask. Each tablet restores 10% on the improvised filter and 6.67% on the green filter. This is because the green filter lasts longer in the gas zones. These charcoal tabs can be found in medical locations but cannot be used to cure gas poisoning still. These 2 filters also become damaged in this patch as you use them. It doesn't matter where you use them, but the quality levels will drain faster inside a gas zone, and it's around 10 times faster inside a gas zone. But you don't want to wear it outside a gas zone because you have stamina penalties for doing so, and you will not get any warning about the filter becoming ruined, so get used to checking the quality levels of filters as well as the percentage that's remaining. Items used in cooking will now take durability damage while over a fireplace that is lit or on a gas stove that is turned on. The new cooking stand becomes ruined in just 20 minutes of being over a fireplace that is lit, where the existing tripod will last 66 minutes. As for the 3 types of cooking container, they will become ruined in just 26 minutes on either the cooking stand, tripod, or the gas stove, so they're all exactly the same, so it doesn't matter what you use to cook, and it doesn't matter what you cook, and it doesn't matter how you cook either. On the plus side with cooking this patch, the sharpened stick loses durability at half the speed now, so you can cook twice as much with 1 stick in 1.17. Note that the items used in cooking that take durability damage now cannot be repaired at all, so minimizing their exposure to fire is something that we're all going to have to keep in mind, and I guess using the kitchen timer is something that some people will probably do. Both variants of the broom can now be set on fire to create fire brooms, which will inflict double damage to infected, and you can 3-shot KO unprotected players too, making it fairly strong for a broom, but only when it's lit. While on fire, it will keep you very warm as you hold it and has the ability to give you the heat buffer stat 2 in this patch, but will only stay on fire for 30 minutes at a maximum and cannot be refueled or repaired. You can extinguish it with a water container when you want and then light it again when you want to use it, but of course doing this will cost you additional time and resources. There are several new heat sources in DayZ, and these new heat sources can give you the heat buffer stat, with the first being the gas stove, which obviously needs to be switched on to warm you up. It's the same case for vehicles too, they will warm you up now when they're switched on, and if you have the white temperature stat you can get the heat buffer stat too, like all the new ways I'm mentioning in this section of the video. Generators can do this too, but only the generator generates heat, not any of the gadgets that you attach to it, so it works much like the gas stove and vehicles. Torches can give you the heat buffer stat too and are very powerful as a fireplace at keeping you warm in fact, but are much more mobile obviously, which can be refueled with rags. Fire brooms work exactly the same way that torches do at warming you up now, but fire brooms lose durability as it's on fire and has a much lower durability than the torches, so it's much better to go with the torches in my opinion. When torches are on fire, like I said earlier, they will do extra damage. Torches are very powerful as they inflict 25 shock damage per punch when lit, allowing you to KO players in just 3 quick punches on nearly any body part. The fire brooms will do the same, just 3 hits, but the animation is much slower. Scripts to do with cooking in the game files have changed a lot in this patch, almost completely redesigned in fact. This changes cooking speeds and allows you to cook with no water or fat in cooking containers. However, cooking without fat or water in a cooking container will make the food lose nutritional value, which is the percentage here, and becomes burned very quickly if you're not paying attention. The biggest change to cooking times is how the gas stove will now take 4 times longer than the fireplace to cook anything at all, which also means if you watch the earlier part of this video, it will inflict 4 times the durability damage damage to cooking items, with the durability changes in this patch a big nerf for the gas stove for sure. Due to these longer cooking times, the kitchen timer can become useful in reminding you when you should stop cooking, to stop your food from burning, save durability, and limit gas usage. From the controls option menu, you can now have a different camera sensitivity to the sensitivity of aiming down sights, which does exactly what it says on the tin, separates turn speed from aiming down sight speed. So along with the character wipes that we're getting this patch, you will probably need to readjust your sensitivity settings because the sliders are now exponential instead of linear too, so the further the sensitivity slider is along, the more it will ramp up. This suits everybody's needs when it comes to sensitivity and allows for better fine tuning on the lower end of sensitivity, a great change especially for console players. If you go to your audio settings in 1.17, you will now see a new option to switch to voice activation mode with the ability to set a noise gate for when you want your microphone to become activated. For the unaware, the higher the setting here, the louder you have to talk for your microphone to activate and transmit your voice in game, allowing for hands-free communication now. You can no longer gather the regular wooden sticks from bushes. Instead, the smaller species of bushes and the trees will offer a long wooden stick, and you'll literally get that option to get a long wooden stick, and you will get a long wooden stick every single time. And the larger trees and the larger bushes will give you firewood, allowing you to correctly select which wooden item you want instead of it being very random like in 1.16. This means from now on you will need to split a long wooden stick to get regular wooden sticks, because there's no other way to get regular wooden sticks in DayZ right now, which can be quickly done though without any tools, and it won't cause a bleed either. The alarm clock's sound strength stat was upgraded in the game files from 10 to 200, but unfortunately this only means it went from around 25 meters sound radius to around 35 meters, so it can attract infected up to around 35 meters now, and the kitchen timer has the exact same sound stat. There is now a new variation of stealth kill, but it works exactly the same as the stealth kill we already have in the game. It only aims for the neck instead, so it's just a variation of the animation. Blunt weapons have been buffed to inflict more health damage, so they will do a lot more damage to infected now. Rain in 1.17 will no longer extinguish fireplaces that have been lit for a while, and extinguishing fireplaces with a water container is now much slower, but it will eventually go out from one use of a water container, much like 1.16, it just takes longer. Just be aware that if the fire is smoking, it means you can still be burnt by it. Nizhnoye, the town south of Berezino, has been changed, looking much better in this patch. You can now scroll between options in crafting and action menus. As an example, when you look down, the only option you have is to pour a container of water, but now you can select drink too. In 1.16, rolling with a weapon was very unnatural looking, but now it will increase the sway by a crazy amount and makes it nearly impossible to hit anything while rolling. You can no longer hold heavy items when getting inside a vehicle, but only items you cannot pick up when you have a broken leg, such as barrels, generators, or these metal sheets. Two-handed weapons and two-handed melee weapons will work fine. Vehicles will now accurately trigger bear traps when a vehicle tyre touches one, destroying all tyres in DayZ in one hit, but not the double tyre on the M3S. Torches that are not lit can be placed in the shoulder slot now, but a lit torch and fire broom cannot. And finally, axes can be used to gather bark from trees now. There are more details when it comes to these changes, and I've made 7 other videos for just this patch going into more detail and providing more tips than you found in this video, of which I've made a playlist for you here if you want to learn more. Now there is one final very sad change in 1.17 that I want to highlight on before I conclude this video. A very loyal fan of DayZ died recently, so loyal in fact he was, that he was even buried with a DayZ t-shirt. So in 1.17, in memory of him, the DayZ developers added a cross near his favourite location in the game, the olive with dome roof house near the northeast airfield. His name was Pauli, and he took his own life, and I don't know why he did, but I do know that he's sadly not alone in his actions. So given that I have some reach, I wanted to remind everybody out there that there's a very good reason why we humans are so damn amazing at survival, because anyone going through dark times becomes better at resisting future dark times. So really, it's only a matter of time before we all become like Bane and Batman, and are molded by the darkness, unaffected by it. For anybody struggling then, it will get easier. If you're a person that watched up until this point, give Pauli a good send-off. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good patch.